I've just been through a merger myself, actually. My company was just, the controlling interest in my company, Stuart Weitzman, was just purchased by Jones Apparel, which is a big holding company which owns a bunch of brands, many, many brands, actually, lots of shoe brands, Nine West. And so I just went through that merger and lots of questions which you'll probably all be dealing with, which is that brand going to ruin our brand, which is so much better? And that's always an issue when a luxury brand gets acquired by a not so luxury brand, but a big rich brand. I mean, Jones is, I think, a $7 billion apparel behemoth. The theme being there is no such thing as a definition of a fashion lawyer. Fashion lawyers come in all sorts of stripes, and general counsel of the big fashion behemoths are either former litigators like me, or former mergers and acquisitions types who like to do deals, like the lawyer of the company that just bought my company, or just lawyer, depending on what the brand is. I mean, Gucci had a lawyer who was a real estate lawyer. One thing, I'm the general counsel of approximately $300 million fashion company. I am the only lawyer in that company, and I think that my career, in a way, kind of solidify, tells you a little bit about the state of the business, which state of the economy. I am not only the only lawyer, but I have neither a secretary nor a paralegal. So I feel a lot like a student most of the time. I'm supported by unpaid legal interns who are students during the school year at Fordham, Cardozo, NYU, New York Law School. And during the summer, I try to take students from places that are more far, law schools that are out of the city, because if they can afford to live in the city for the summer, it's fun to have them. I had somebody from Georgetown, Penn, University of Miami. I mean, quite a broad range. And they get up to speed very quickly. My interns from last spring all did the deal with me, worked on the Jones deal. So imagine, Barbara and her, interns throwing together a major corporate deal. This is another one. This is my nightmare. This case is driving me crazy. It's going to be the death of me. It's ruining my whole year. It's eating up my budget. The shoe on the top is the Menge shoe. It's a shoe that's being made, was designed in Europe. I think the guy's Italian. And he sued us. Well, he didn't sue us. He sent us a cease and desist letter and asked us to stop selling the shoe on the bottom, which is our blingy shoe, which is basically it's called a Dorsey shape. I won't bore you with all the details, but that little thing in the back that goes up and the open toe. And my boss got the cease and desist letter and said, that's not original. I mean, that Dorsey shoe was designed by, Count Dorsey in France in 1624. We're going to fight that. Well, $150,000 later on my budget of, but not much more than that, we are deep into a mess with Menge shoes. We decided to challenge their design. They have a design registration in Europe, and we decided to challenge their design registration in the OHIM, which is the administrative body in Alicante. And in the meantime, they got mad and they started bringing criminal actions against us in Italy, and they kept showing up at our shoe shows in Milan and with cops and prosecutors and taking away our shoes, which you can imagine what that did to my boss. So, and to our Italian distributor. So it's a bunch of crazy Italians, stealing each other's shoes. So that's the way it's kind of played out. A lot of fashion is about licensing. If you think about any big designer, let's just focus on U.S., Calvin Klein, Vera Wang, Ralph Lauren. The business is all about you know, the bucks are made from the licenses. I mean, I know Vera Wang. I went to school with her. She started out designing a few wedding gowns, you know, got very famous, you know, make money selling expensive wedding gowns. And so she started licensing, and she started licensing all of the categories that make sense from a bridal perspective, you know, shoes, mattresses, perfume, home textiles, you know, sheets and towels, and the list goes on and on and on. Anything you can think about that a bride would want, Vera licenses, and that's what fashion licensing world is all about, and it's very, very lucrative, and it's the way to go. Coach has sued the city of Chicago recently, which I thought was really cool because I've dealt with the city of Chicago, and for failure to crack down on its street vendors. And it's, you know, it's of course, I asked, I had lunch with two of the Coach lawyers, and I said, so did they answer? And they said, no, they can't seem to find anybody to answer the complaint. And you picture this big city hall bureaucracy, and like you know, nobody's ever sued the city of Chicago for its street vendors' actions. But look what they're seeking: $2 million per violation, an injunction halting the sale of. I mean, it's really it's going to be interesting to watch this one. I mean, this is a PR ploy, you know, but you know, it's not bad. And there's a very important case you all should be familiar with, which is J.A. Apparel versus Joseph Aboud, which has to do with a name and likeness agreement, because all these designers eventually sell their names when they sell the company, and what do they retain, if anything? I mean, it's very interesting on the whole issue of, you know, bundles of intellectual property rights come in bundles, and you know, with that in mind, you're going to be asked to look at ads. You go on any website, I mean, go on 7 for All Mankind website, and you'll see a place to click that says, who loves us? And in that, on the website, and I didn't do this, but this is post me, there's a whole, there's like pictures of magazines where celebrities are pictured wearing, you know, the company's jeans. Is that okay to do under, you know, advertising law? And it's not a yes or a no question. The kinds of things that I work on besides trademark, just to give you all the message that you will get jobs, because fashion lawyers do all sorts of things besides trademark and copyright. And in fact, I would tell you my day, even though I work for a brand, and a brand is about IP. You know, it's trademark, copyright, design, patent. European design, all the things we talked about, but I do lots of other things, and I do lots of work, leasing work. May sound boring, but our stores are a big part of our brand. We have 37 stores in the U.S. and many stores, I think about 25 stores in Europe, and we had actually some consignment store customers, people who bought goods from us on consignment. One of them screwed up, you know, getting a security interest in place. I mean, you'd be amazed in a job like mine how much time you spend on things you learned in your first year in law school, you know. A security interest, you know, like what is a security interest and how do I get that in South Carolina? Just to finish up, and then I'll take some questions. My career, I never thought I'd be a fashion lawyer. It's interesting to, you know, how you kind of end up where you are. I was an actress and a singer for 8 years professionally. After 8 years on the road, I decided I just couldn't take it anymore, and I applied to law school. Doctor, lawyer, Indian chief. I had no interest really in it, but it was not that expensive in those days, and I got in and I hated it. And I found a wonderful mentor. I thought I was going to be a criminal lawyer, and I found a wonderful mentor, a guy named Barry Scheck, who started the Innocence Project, and I was very interested in that kind of DNA. And I got a job offer from Legal Aid, and then I got a clerkship in the Second Circuit, and my mentor said, take the clerkship because you'll have time to think about what you really want to do.